Langat, if you are listening, you are still listening, which I believe you are, then let me say with a lot of respect that you are a victim of holy simplicity, sanctus simplicitus, and you are not alone. Like when there is no
At least he's not
food,
alone, he's in company.
yeah, there are many others. When there is no food and the parent takes some stones and puts them in a pot and puts their water and tells the kids, be patient, we are boiling meat and potatoes and all other good stuff you are going to eat. And the children feel very happy and they are singing and clapping and they are even stoking the fire further because they believe that something is cooking in the pot and that they will eat that something which is cooking in the pot. When you are being told about this 35% and you are saying, let it come, let us at least take that, we are in a place today where, as we have been told, and sometimes because it's William Ruto who says these things and you don't like him, you want to throw the baby away with the bath waters. They have told you to separate the individuals from the debate. They are not able to deliver 15%. Where is 35% going to come from? When you look at even just the distribution of the national budget today, we have gotten to a situation where we are borrowing to fund recurrent expenditure, which is against even our law itself as it exists.
I'm borrowing from Muluka to pay Bitok. Then I borrow from Bitok to pay Muluka.
It is, you are digging a pit to fill up a pit and digging another pit to fill up another pit and another pit to fill up a pit, but you are supposed to fill up with some interest. So you are getting into a deadlock, dead end. In the long run, we don't know what is going to happen to you. This 35% will never come. It will never come. Anyone who is watching and listening, I invite you to write that in your diary today, because when the dire consequences of this thing you are talking about do come, it is going to be useful to remember that there were some people who talked about this holy simplicity. The whole essence of this BBI thing is about the national executive, which is supposed to be an imperial, parasitic national executive under the heavy arm of a president who is going to appoint a prime minister whom he or she can sack the next day. It's going to be about encroachment into the judiciary through an avenue called the Judiciary Ombudsman, who is going to ride roughshod through the judiciary.
But
you have nowhere.
already have an ombudsman in the judiciary.
Yes, but this one is going to be, in fact, there is already.
There is already one.
But what we are trying to do now is to constitutionalize it. You now give it the force of law, so that if today you can challenge the president against illegality, in the future the president will say, but it is in the law, but it is in the constitution. So this thing is seeking to create a constitutional autocracy under the heavy arm of the president, that the people we have been vetting through parliament, and I had Professor Sihanya talking about this, saying, these people have already been vetted by the electorate, and therefore the president can just appoint them. It is unnecessary, or the president should not have a deputy who can challenge him. When the drafters of the Constitution, and I've got one of them here this morning, knew how that office of deputy president had been abused They insulated it.
Exactly.
And said, now we must have a deputy president who can also stand up and say no. And we are seeing that the Constitution is being tested. And we are seeing that it is working. It is functioning the way the drafters intended that it should be. It has got sufficient shock absorbers. But we are being told we want to take away all that. So, in the spirit of holy simplicity, and I don't doubt that it is a very widespread spirit, we are likely to get to a point where these things will be bulldozed through the county assemblies. People will be bribed. Some will be intimidated. Others will be blackmailed. It will go through. We will come to the referendum. Those who do not like it, who might even be the majority, might stay away, while the minority might turn up to vote, and the majority of the minority may vote yes. And we will end up with this thing. And it will take another 40 years to overthrow it. That is why it must be remembered that there were people who stood up and said no. He asked whether we are supporting or not. As BARRACK, Okwaro, Maina, Muluka, I'm saying no. And I want it to be recorded for posterity.
We have recorded it.
Hey, Omshisa Mwana. Somebody has called you Omshisa Mwana. Tell them we schooled.
We schooled. We want to school.
But listen, let me start with, of course, BBI is a no to me.
And even as you weigh on that sort of reserve on time court, the issue of the county assembly, the other day, CI county assembly became the first county assembly to pass the BBI document without a debate, without proper debate, without the public participation. I mean, all protocols were broken.
Exactly.
To pass a document of a promise, or probably I don't know what it was all about. Where is the position of the Mwananchi? As you start with the Mlangat, then you land up there.
In fact, I'm hoping it is true you brought that issue of public participation. This is a principle of national governance in our constitution, which is enshrined in Article 10. Public participation, accountability, all those principles, inclusion, are all enshrined there. So this bill should have been taken to the people. You remember during the Punguza Mizigo bill, the process was very clear that a county assembly said we have to go and talk to our people. And that's exactly what happened. The county of Sierra, because I don't want to be derogatory, but like I think Junet said that some of us are cows of a certain leader. I mean, he said it publicly.
And he's not a pastoralist.
Yes.
Yeah, carry on.
So what happened to the county of Sierra? Of course, they broke all protocol. They never followed the law. They never observed the law. So that process actually should be invalidated. And I'm hoping that somebody, a spirited Kenyan out there, will actually go to court and challenge the passage of that law to be declared null and void ab initio. To BBI, for me, as I said, it's no for many reasons. One, BBI is nonsense upon stilts, as we say. I think Thomas Hobbes says it. It is unconstitutional. It's repetitive. It's directionless. For me, there is nothing new that BBI actually brings to this country that we cannot address. In fact, a lot of the garbage in BBI, a lot of the rubbish in BBI proposal is actually administrative and legislative and even policy. Let me tell you why BBI is a big lie. I'll pick it from what Lagat suggested. And I want Lagat not to be swayed by this thing of 35%. In the current constitution, it says that the counties should receive at least 15%.
A minimum.
Minimum, at least. Nothing has stopped the executive from saying we are going to send 50% or even 80% to the county. The language of the constitution was at least. Assuming even they have not read the constitution, which is true, many of them have not read this constitution. Assuming they have not read, and I mean it's a fact they haven't really read, because if they had read, simple English says, and Muluka here can clarify, because he speaks a lot of very good English than me. At least means what? A minimum. Yeah? Not an English teacher, but at least I know.
Yes.
That's the minimum.
It is the benchmark.
The benchmark. So you can go as high as you want.
You can even give 100%.
Now, because they have not read the Constitution, there's a person called President of the Republic of Kenya who enjoys what is called executive order. President, he has effected many executive orders in a number of things, including creating the Nairobi Metropolitan Service. We didn't need to amend the Constitution of Kenya to create Nairobi Metropolitan Service. We did not amend the Constitution to create the CAS, or Chief Administrative Secretaries.
Yes. And also ministers without portfolio.
Ministers without portfolio. We never amended the Constitution. So he has the executive order that he can sign today and say, I'm going to send 50% to the counties. And like I've said, Bitok here in your show many times, if you deconstruct the national,
it is actually your show now.
Yes. If you deconstruct the national, what is the national? Let's deconstruct the national. The national is the 47 counties of Kenya. The national is the 1450 wards in Kenya. The national is the 290 constituencies in this country. The national is the 48 million Kenyans. So when you keep more money to what you call the national, it's a misnomer. You should actually send more money to the counties, to the wards, and that way, the national should be the opposite. What should be the smaller unit of government should actually be the national. So they should take the smallest portion of budget. But the bigger portion of our budget for development, for resources allocation, should actually go to the ward level. And that's why for me in Punguza Mizigo, I propose to retain the 1450 wards for purposes of service delivery. So that in each and every ward of this country, if you get services at your very doorsteps, then you know what, even anything can be president. Up there.
We really don't care.
Nobody will care, because now if I've got hospital, schools, good roads, electricity, employment at my ward level.
You don't care who is president.
You don't care who is president. You can even decide to relocate to a place called Todonyang in Turkana or in Lunga because there are facilities. This is what happens in developed countries. You can settle, can relocate anywhere. As a matter of fact, people run away from the big cities.
Especially in the UK. I'm not just surprised people love living a country in the UK.
Yeah, I lived in the Midlands, in the UK, and I had everything. Just from outside my house, I'll jump into a bus. 10 minutes, I'm in a train station. If I want to go to London, I go to London, transact my business, I'm back into Coventry. I take a train to Scotland. Services are there, So when we deconstruct the national, so when BBI is lying to people that, they will bring 35%, Katiba is very clear. Katiba inasema, at least 15%. Nothing stops them. And by the way, why should we believe a process being driven by Jubilee administration to promise us many things? Let's go back to 2013. For a government, adults who lie to our children that I'll give you a laptop, to children, why should adults now believe this person if you can lie to children?
It's our turn.
Yeah?
It's our turn to be lied to.
This government promised what? 3 million annually, progressively. Where are those 3 million jobs? So why will we now be promised at your vijana? Listen, do you need to amend the Constitution of Kenya to give tax havens, tax holidays? Or
if I was a minister, I would just have lunch, feel good, and come out and say, from today onwards, students don't have health loans. And we move on.
By the way, which country is this yesterday? That's now, Liberia, a country I worked in. Now they have declared school fees for up to undergraduates for free, up to education, in all public universities. And this is a country that's not even anywhere close to the economy of Kenya. We can do it. Those are all policy administrative issues. So Langat and others, please don't believe in this lie called BBI. It's a lie. It's about, actually, this BBI thing is creating ethnic hegemony at the very top. That's what it is.
There's something, Muluka, where is the place of the Mwananchi in this conversation? County assemblies are proceeding to approve bills without involving the Mwananchi. Who does the law belong to? Does it belong to the politicians? It belongs to the people. Where does it leave the people then?
The law should belong to the people. All sovereignty belongs to the people. It emanates from the people, and it resides in the people, and it eventually rests with the people. That is the spirit and letter of the Constitution from the hand of those who drafted it, from those of us who participated in the various debates and eventually voted for it. and were beholden in the promulgation of that constitution. But the way it has been managed, and now the direction it is being taken, it belongs to a small oligarchy at the very top. And the things which have been done, defying the constitution, you are told to appoint 41 judges and you refuse with impunity. You are told that you should dissolve parliament, and you don't consider it important even to deign by way of giving a reasoned reply why you will not dissolve parliament. You have got the responsibility of ensuring that the gender principle functions. If you have a challenge with it in the legislature, at least you don't have a challenge where you are supposed to be appointing as president. You have the mandate and you know the numbers, and you've gone to good exclusive schools that some of us have only heard about. And you have learned all the mathematics that Kerry Francis and Owen and C.V. Durrell could teach. You can look and you know what 2/3 is, and you can actually say 1 out of 3 or 2 out of 3.
Matusi bila matusi.
Where do you get the sarcasm? We should declare the sarcasm master. All right.
You have defied all that. But what you are trying to do now is to entrench it in constitutionalism, so that it is perverted constitutionalism.
Yes. But Muluka, even in his own house,
yes,
which is the cabinet,
yes,
you cannot just do the calculation like you say.
Yes,
what is a third of gender?
Just look at C.V. Durrell and say a third.
Yes,
1/3
in your own decision.
That one, even those of us who only read the Bible in school understand. We can do that distribution, yeah, and say 1 out of 3.
Hesabu kidogo.
And hivi,
machungwa tatu moja kati ya tatu.
And if I can't do that, and I'm the president and I can't do 2/3, I can put together 10 people, men and women, na nitahesabu mmoja mmoja, na mwanamke mmoja simama hapa, mwanaume hapa, mwanamke mwingine hapa, until I can see that there are 3 on this side, yeah, or 3 point something. And since there are no 3 point something people, I can say 4.
You round off to the nearest
6 on this side. So what we are seeing through this BBI effort, and I don't know how this message could ever get home. People who have read big books and are competent to be called learned, and they call themselves learned friends, may help me to take home this message.
Yes.
That there is this illegal dispensation. There has been this practice of illegality, but you want to remove the cloak of illegality and dress it up now in legality. So that when you do those things, people can no longer tell you that you are breaking the law, that you are going outside and beyond your powers, ultra vires, yeah? Beyond your powers. You don't have that authority. Now that is what this thing is seeking to do. And Raila Odinga likes it because, as usual, he is very naive politically. Sometimes I hear people praising him and saying he's a strategist. He's not. The one thing that defines Raila Odinga when the history of this country is finally written is political naivety. That he actually believes he's going to be the next president, and so he is stockpiling these powers in that institution of the presidency, believing that he's headed there, that it is his next destination, and therefore that he's going to be exercising those powers. As happened before in 2010, when he thought that he was going to become the president and abandoned the parliamentary system that he had advocated for so long, he's going to be surprised when once again someone else lands in State House, and he'll be looking for not just another handshake. he'll be looking for another opportunity again to start changing the Constitution. Because the Constitution for him is a moving object that must keep on moving until the day when the coordinates are going to be in alignment with his self-focused political ambitions. And he thinks, let us stockpile here. His father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, God rest his soul in eternal peace, was a victim of the same kind of political naivety, working in cahoots with Tom Mboya, introducing constitutional changes that said things like the president is above the law, because he actually hoped that they were going to be in government.
For they were snookered.
And they were snookered. And Charles Njonjo at some point also changed the constitution of this country together with Mwai Kibaki.
To try and lock out Moi. Only for Moi to sneak through the book.
And Charles Njonjo again went further and made us a one-party state autocracy. He was locked out. And Raila Odinga, again, he could put this down in writing. I'm not a Jewish prophet, but sometimes the things that humble mouths such as ours pronounce do come to pass. And he's going to find himself looking for a handshake. He has done 3 so far. He did one with Moi in 1998. He did another one with Mwai Kibaki in 2008. And he's done one with Uhuru Kenyatta
in 2018.
Is
it a rhyme?
And if my mask are correct, Muluka, it looks like every 10 years.
Every 10
somebody
years.
will have to do it.
Every 10 years.
So will it still be an handshake after it will be a hug now?
This time it's going to be telescoped. It's not going to be 10 years. It's going to be 5 years.
Muluka. The more I think about BBI, the more I try to describe it metaphorically. A very nice warm shower. Alafu unajipaka manukato, unajipodoa vizuri, unang'ara, unavaa suti mpya mzuri, alafu bado unaenda kucheza kwa matope. That's exactly where BBI is taking us. I'm not saying the 2010 constitution is perfect. There are certain areas we could have strengthened because it's a product of negotiations. Or constitution making is a negotiated agreement. But it's a better document in terms of where it has placed Kenya. It's actually a developmental constitution. But what these guys are doing to us right now, like I say, it's like we had cleaned up ourselves to a certain extent. See, even when you take a shower, it's not like you remove every dirt in your body.
That's why you wash towels.
Exactly, that's why we wash towels. So, lakini at least umejinyorosha, unasikia kidogo, kuna mahewa safi nini. Lakini sasa hawa watu wanaturudisha bado kwa matope. Yeah? That's exactly why BBI is taking this country.
Wanakuja na hongo, wanakuja na vitisho, wanakuja na dhoruba kalikali, wanakuja na matusi, na sisi wengine tunanunulika kwa urahisi, wengine wanapumbazwa, tunakuwa ni mbumbumbu, tunakubali. Na hatimaye tutasikia hicho kiboko kitakapo tunyorosha mwilini. Haikuwa ni vigumu sana kugeuza.
Tayari tuko tumeshaumia. Haya, swali la mwisho, what is the state of judiciary? Looks like at the exit of Maraga, the judiciary has continued to be intimidated. We are seeing what is happening to CJ Mwilu the other day. I'm seeing also the courts. Looks like the courts, it's back to the days when the courts were used to punish people who had political dissent. What is the state of judiciary from a legal point of view?
To be honest, the state of the judiciary in Kenya today, I will tell you, is in disarray. From 2 perspectives. When we were writing the Kenya Constitution, you see, a lot of Kenyans have not read, for example, the schedules to this Constitution. And if you read the 6th schedule, I think it must be section 22, where we are trying to clean up the judiciary, to bring in the idea of vetting judges and magistrates, so that we remove the bad elements, so that we now give Kenyans a clean judiciary. Because we truly believe that Kenya was in the cusp of renewal at the time we were writing the Constitution, because Kenyans had said, and I remember it was during the radical surgery of the judiciary under Aaron Ringera, was it in 203, if I'm not wrong, where he came up with a finding that Kenyans genuinely believed that if you can buy
A judge.
Why
Yes.
hire a lawyer? That there was no point. So that is the judiciary where we came from. So when we were writing the Constitution in 2010, we took all those issues into consideration. And that's why we came up with the vetting of judges and magistrates. But it seems we actually gave people a license to misbehave more. Now that I've been vetted and judged, you know, you cannot hold anything
You
more.
have a certificate.
Again, I have a certificate of cleanness. Fast forward, what is happening to cases such as Sonko and others? Because truly speaking, Kenyans believe that whenever the executive or even the legislature misbehaved itself, we will run to the judiciary as the vanguard of justice. But that's not happening. Because today I don't understand why the Constitution is very clear that a person has to be bailed within a certain time. Why isn't a magistrate courageous enough to say, you know, we are violating the right of this person under Chapter 4 of our Constitution, which is the Bill of Rights? But I'm not surprised, again, because it is the same President Uhuru Kenyatta, following the nullification of the 2017 election, August 2017 election, who publicly said, we shall revisit. He actually threatened, and he told the judiciary, you wait and see what I'm capable of doing. And like Muluka rightfully noted earlier, he's refused to swear in 41 judges. In other words, he is actually undermining the judiciary.
It's revisiting.
In his revisiting approach. In fact, one of the judges since died. We're now talking about 40. Yeah. So he deliberately disregarded a directive from the Chief Justice, which is a constitutional directive under Article 261, I think. Yeah. Where it says, but you failed to implement a certain section of the Constitution.
Yes.
It is your mandate now dissolve this parliament. He ignored that and all other things. So the truth for the matter is, I think the judiciary is cowed. It's been intimidated. And I think we are back to the dark days of Khan, where you say anything against the government or you're a public servant, you're trying to do something funny, they come probably with an envelope. In the morning, you wake up and you find that under your door there's an envelope. And in that envelope, there are all manner of trumped charges, or KRA, you've not paid taxes for this number of years. Then you submit to that authoritarian rule. And I think that's what's happening to the judges right now. And especially after the exit of Maraga, you see what they're trying to do to Deputy Justice Mwilu, acting CJ today. You know, it's a shame. It's a travesty. And it's like we're killing. Of course, one arm of government is dead, the executive. I don't even count it anymore because it's just about themselves. Parliament has been killed. Now they are trying to kill the only other limping arm of this government, the judiciary.
Which was our only hope.
Which was our only hope. So really, you can actually say Kenya today is not a constitutional country. Because if the executive is not enforcing the Constitution, the legislature has gone into slumber. That is not a proper ingredient of a constitutional democracy. A constitutional democracy is where you have got the three arms of government fully functioning, and then the independent offices, for example, as we created them, the NCIC, the ESCC, the IEBC, all those have been compromised by the executive. So really, I know it's like a grave indictment to make, but I think we are hardly a constitutional democracy because those cogs of democracy, of governance, are not working together, they're not collaborating. You know, counties have been compromised, as you know. They either belong to
Odinga or to Kenyatta.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And the two gentlemen believe that they own the country the way a feudal lord owns his feudal land and property. And everybody who should have the misfortune of finding themselves in that space is their serf. We are in serfdom. And they start wondering why there should be an assertive judiciary. The judiciary should be an instrument that serves those who are exercising executive power for the time being. And the legislature should also be an instrument and a property. And all of us become the property. And because EKURU AUKOT and the other experts gave us a constitution that on paper says that we are a constitutional democracy, it must be overthrown. The BBI is about formal overthrowing of constitutionalism in the country and packaging an autocracy in the garb, in the cloth of legality, and giving us now a pure constitutional dictatorship that you cannot question. Odinga and Kenyatta believe that they own the country and the people the way they own their various pairs of shoes and vests. You see, I've said before, when you own a pair of shoes, such as the ones you're wearing now, you can decide to give them to me, to sell them to me at a price. You can sell them to Shuba Nandebe.
You can throw them away.
You can throw them away. You can pass them to your younger brother or to some other villager. They are yours. And there's a sense in which this class believes that it owns Kenya, that when it starts
together with all of us,
listing its assets,
we are the appendages.
We are the appendages. And the judiciary together with us.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I think they believe, they probably believe that Kenya is their shamba. Like they have a title deed to it. They can mortgage it, they can charge it,
and
they can sell it.
And you are part of the property.
We have the property.
And you say,
yeah? That's why they say
you're selling with excesses.
Yeah, that's why they say, that's why they say, this is my county. That you cannot go to a certain place, for example, and express yourself. Utapigwa.
Alafu jambo la mwisho tu lile ningependa kuchangia, kisha nafikiri tutaruhusiwa kuondoka.
Hiyo sasa ndio taita tackle of the day yako. Your tackle of the day.
My tackle of the day. Kwamba we are creating, and we seem to have that appetite, has a very sharp appetite, to create in this country the institution of warlords. Warlordism. Kwamba even the media has accepted. And in fact, the media is the catalyst.
I don't even think
they look at Luyaland, where I was born, and they're wondering who our warlord should be. Should it be Mudavadi? Should it be Wetangula? Mukisa Kitui is also coming in from the shadows and is trying to get into that space, and weekly for Paranya. And we have got fiefdoms within Luyaland that are striving for the ultimate warlord in that space. And I have seen a certain Peter Amunga saying things in the social media kwamba watachapa watu, sijui watafanya nini, getting ready and gearing.
I think that guy works for
yeah, I think so. Yeah, gearing for that and writing very uncouth things which someday is going to be held responsible for. And you have seen that in Mount Kenya region, Uhuru Kenyatta goes into panic. And he says, my space is getting threatened. And I must be the ultimate warlord in that space. Then you go to Luoland, they have got their warlord. You go to the Kalenjin country and you find the wrestling is going on. Then you go to the coast and you find some people are saying, hey, hata sisi tumenyanyaswa kwa muda mrefu, tumezuzuliwa na kuchachawizwa kwa muda mrefu. Sasa tujipange, tusipojipanga tutapangwa. And you find there is that strife of who is the warlord. Should it be Joho or should it be Kingi? Because there must emerge a warlord. You go to Ukambani and you find they are wrestling that this is my space. There's Mutua, there's Kibwana, there is Ngilu, and now there is even Mudama. And each one of them is trying to become the warlord. We are afraid of all other conversations, including conversations on class struggle. While Karl Marx has told us that the history of all hitherto existing societies is the history of class struggles. But we are not afraid of conversations on creation of warlords within tribes. And the worst form of class struggles is when the dominant class is actually a tribe. It is coterminous with that tribe, where we say that tribe A is the dominant class. I commend Amichua's a seminal work titled The World on Fire to everyone to read ahead of the next election. The World on Fire.
The World on Fire.
By Amichua. And they will understand some of the fears that some of us are sometimes troubled by. Thank you.
All right, you sign out.
I think for me, I'll
AUKOT,
briefly pick up from Muluka. Very able description of Kenya in terms of creation of these warlords and tribal warlords. So my talk of the day will be a challenge to you, ordinary Kenyan, who is not this warlord. Where is your space in this creation of this warlord? What is your role in the creation of this warlord? Do you think you have a role to play in at least wrestling out the country from these warlords? Because the truth for the matter is, Bitok, is that Kenya belongs to all of us in equal measure. All of us own this country. This country is not owned by a few individuals who are now, just because of positions of privilege that we give to them, they can now decide to rearrange us like the furniture in their homes. I think Kenyans, we should admit we are the problem. The problem is not these warlords. We are the problem, because we are the ones who queue for hours on hand to elect these individuals and put them in places of of privilege, in the hope or in the false understanding that they're actually going to be our leaders that will chaperone us to a certain direction of prosperity. So if there's really the real problem makers in this country, it's not this tiny minority of individuals, Raila, Uhuru, Ruto, Kalonzo, the Mudavadis, or the rest. It is us, the ordinary majority in this country. We are the ones who are actually the problems. We are the ones who make this bed. And I think when these leaders create discomfort in us, in the way we coexist, the way they now pit a Kikuyu against a Luo, an ordinary Kikuyu against a Luo, who struggles to put food on the table, the problem actually is not them. It's just that they have discovered that this is how this is our investment. Part of the investment is in our mediocrity, is in our naivety as a people, and therefore they are optimally exploiting that. So the day we wake up, smell the coffee, and realize that we are not going anymore to keep on watering this creation of warlordism in our country, I think that's when we will liberate Kenya. And we need to think about the hard questions. Today, as we speak, the national debt is, I think, 9 trillion, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, hovering somewhere there.
They're about 9 trillion. This is money.
The one that we know.
The one that we know. This is a national debt that will not be paid by Uhuru Kenyatta when he leaves office. It will not be paid by Raila Odinga when he leaves office. It will not even be paid by Ruto when they leave office. It will be paid by you if you are lucky enough to live longer. But ultimately, it will be your children and their children who will have to pay this debt. So, wanatuongezea mizigo badala ya kutupunguzia mizigo. That's my tackle of it.
And you've been challenged to rudisha punguza mzigo. You've been challenged to return punguza mzigo. So I hope you're going to do something about it, because unless we do something about all these things we talk about, then change will continue to evade us for the longest time. Until we do something, it's going to continue to evade us.
Actually, we can go into partnership with the TACO.
Yes, you can get busy. It's here. I mean, we all have the same ambition, and Muluka is here. We all have the same intention to make a change.
But in the interest of transparency, to respond to people who have said bring back punguza mizigo, the truth for the matter is that we have actually, everything is on the ready. We have requested IBC to give us the basic data of counties, constituencies, polling stations. They have refused to give us this data, and I've even spoken to Chebukati a couple of times about this. Wamekata. Looks like they've been given instructions not to give us this, because I wanted data that can be authenticated, so that when you endorse punguza mizigo, you can confirm this is my ward, this is my polling station, for purposes of verification. Because we don't want to leave anything. We don't want to do mambo chini chini the way BBI did.
Absolutely. And the IEBC has got a duty,
Yeah.
a sacrosanct duty to avail information
Yeah.
to the public, to any one member of the public. But they behave as if, again, it's their personal property, private property.
I formally wrote to them to request for this information, because I know people want me to bring back Punguza Mzigo, but I want to bring it with all the attendant aspects of it, so that when you sign in as a voter, we don't want to give anybody the excuse that, there's a problem here, count this, because they are complicating this thing. Ideally, it should actually be your name, as it is in the voters register, and your ID. But I want to make it clean, so that you can actually even indicate, I'm a voter in this polling station, this is my ward, this is my...
Absolutely.
And I've written formally. They have refused.
I want you to bring that up again so that we can take it up for cuts for Twitter. The same thing. What do you about IBC?
What I've said, I have formally written to IBC under Article 35 of the Kenya Constitution on the right to information. And the information I want for purposes of Punguza Mizigo is information on all the constituencies, the 290 constituencies, on all the wards, 1450 wards, and then all the polling stations, about 48,000, if I'm not wrong, polling station. Only IEBC can authenticate this information. And I wanted to make it part of the endorsement of Punguza Mizigo. I have spoken to Chairman Chebukati, I've spoken to the CEO, Marijan, and up to now, they have refused to give us this information.
They refused to give you information. All right, over to you, Chebukati, and the person who has been spoken to at IBC. We hope to hear from you soon on why you've not provided the public information to Punguza Mzigo or to Thirdway Alliance so that they can formulate their Punguza Mzigo bill. We want to hear from, because we are all Kenyans. Even me, I want to request when Punguza Mzigo part 3.
Exactly.
Punguza na punguza. Punguza mpaka tumalize. Kila mtu apunguza. All right, guys, thank you so much for always joining us. It's all a pleasure. I'm saying Abbas, you're going to say EKURU, take my signature now. Look for the other 900,999. Muluka yuko hapa pia. Yangu yuko hapa pia. David Koro says in the inch yetu bana. Abbas, you're going to say Rao will do the next handshake. We'll do that. They can't work together. Currently, until 2022 elections is conducted, they are contestants. Abraham Fangela Wafula says wonderful, thank you. Kazimba says master of handshake. All right. Said what a great discussion. Every 10 years we need a handshake. Will bewitch us. All right. Thank you guys for always tuning us, gentlemen. I really appreciate to have you again. I hope to see you again next week on Sheria Wiki, so that we can give value to Kenyans, so that we can have a different conversation that changes the landscape. We are changing the conversation. We are sweeping the carpet and we are moving the cheese. When they say who moved our cheese, we'll say we did it. When you guys were sleeping. The Tacklers, thank you for always tuning in. Thank you for the support and for always sharing. Keep sharing our broadcast. Go to YouTube, look for Gerald Bitok. Go to Twitter, hashtag the Tagol or at Gerald Bitok. You'll find us there. Keep sharing our videos. And by the way, when you go to YouTube, when you're watching our videos, don't skip the ads. Up and you kitu inafanya tulipa mshahara. Tafadhali don't skip the ads. Keep when you're watching, please watch all the ads. It's only 2 seconds or 5 seconds or 3 seconds and you're already done with it. Thank you so much for always tuning in. It's always a pleasure. This is the Tackle, and the Tackle ends now. See you again on Monday and enjoy your weekend. Signing out. Bye-bye.